Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever applies to you, and welcome to the What's for Lunch and Other Spiritual Questions podcast. My name is Gary Ritchie. I'm the pastor of New Hope Christian Community Church in Round Lake Heights, Illinois. And Faith is engineering for us today.
Hello.
She doesn't want to talk because she's sick. And
because I feel like my voice sounds terrible. Like anybody who's listening to me is like, oh, girl, go to bed. You know?
Oh, girl.
Go to bed.
Who's saying that? Oh, girl, go to bed.
I don't know.
Somebody's like, girl.
Someone's like, go home.
Go home.
And so I thought I wouldn't hurt people's ears today, and I'll only interject when absolutely necessary.
And yet, when I mentioned that you're engineering today, you went on a whole little...
Just because I want people to know that I'm not going to be talking as much. You know?
Okay, but we don't know that yet.
I know that.
But our special guest today on the program, our man Haakon Fiedler, right? Haakon Fiedler? No.
Fiedler.
We'll try that again. Our special guest on the program today, Haakon Fiedler. I said it the same way.
Fiedler.
Fiedler.
Yes.
Try that one more time. Our special guest on the show today, Haakon Fiedler. I've only seen your name written down. I don't see it said very often.
Hey, you got the first name perfect.
Which is
usually the problem.
We have to start there. You're the only Haakon I've ever met. Tell the people a little bit about yourself. Haakon, tell how old you are, where you're from, and how you got the name Haakon.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good place to start. I'm 23, born in February 5th, 2002. And I live in Arlington Heights. I've lived in Arlington Heights all my life. And I got my name partially because my parents realized I'm the youngest of 6 kids. And they realized that the names of our family were creating a pattern. So
interesting.
My dad's name is David, and then my mom's name is Kim. And
so 2 people with very ordinary names gave you the name Haakon.
Yes. And
Dave and Kim named their child Haakon.
It got more unusual as they went down the line of kids. So my oldest brother's name was Tegan, which is a little unusual.
It's a little unusual.
But my mom always complains that it was a boy's name when she gave it to him. And now it's more often a girl's name.
Tegan.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I think that was a boy or a girl. I'm not even sure. I would certainly think it was someone I knew at camp. That's the main thing about a Tegan.
I could see that too.
Tegan. Oh, he was on Orange for Color War. That's what I would go with. So yeah, run the names down. I'm interested here.
Tegan, Hannah, which is,
normal name.
Very, very common. At least it was at some point.
I'm going to rank each name 1 to 10. 10 being super normal, 1 being what were they thinking?
Okay, well,
Hannah,
let's see if they listen to the
9. That's a classic name. People are named. It's in the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
Tegan is like
10 was what were they thinking?
No, 10 is super normal. 1 is what were they thinking?
Okay.
I'm going the other way. Should I go the other? Should I flip it?
I think that it should be a craziness scale.
Okay, so 1 is super normal. So 1 is super normal, 10 is the craziest. So Tegan is a 5.
Okay.
It's a name you've heard of, a kid you know at camp. It's not super unusual, but it's not an everyday name.
Right.
Hannah, in the Bible. Everyone knows that name. It's been around for a long time. I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
It does rhyme with banana, which we enjoy.
That's what my mom always called her.
And if she ever goes to Savannah, she'll have a good time there.
Yeah. In fact, I think my mom came up with little rhyming things for all of our names, but I can tell you that afterwards.
So is Tegan a vegan?
Yeah. Well, he's not a vegan, but that's what she called him.
Your mother tried to name force him into being a vegan, but failed. Hannah, I assume Hannah Banana or Savannah Hannah?
Hannah Banana.
Hannah Banana. Is she fond of bananas?
I haven't asked her.
What kind of sibling are you? Go ahead. Who's number 3?
Danica.
Like Danica Patrick. That's
Sure.
the only Danica I can think of.
I actually don't know.
And is she a fanatica for something?
No. In fact, she
Danica
kind of just stole from Hannah and went Bananica. It's not a real word.
Bananica. Interesting. I kind of like that, actually. I'll go 6 on the crazy scale. I think it's a little crazier than Tegan.
Okay. That's fair. Next is Kyrie.
Like Kyrie eleison on the road that I must travel?
Yes.
I guess your parents are probably around my age.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay, and I only know that from the Mr. song. Do you even know what I'm talking about?
I know that Kyrie eleison is from a sort of traditional like Catholic hymn or something like that, but
it's also from like a pop song from 1987.
Okay.
Kyrie, are we allowed to sing songs? Are we going to Kyrie eleison down the road that you must? I don't know what it means.
Okay. Well, Kyrie eleison means Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy.
Say you're allowed to sing songs because they sound nothing like the actual song.
That hurts. From someone who's not using their microphone. That's an interesting comment. So, Kyrie, that's got to be on the crazy scale. That's a 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a 9. Mm-hmm. That's strong on the crazy scale.
Yeah.
Is there a rhyme?
Dear.
I'm growing more and more concerned about whether, I mean, it's too late because you're grown up, but I feel like if DCFS was monitoring this, there'd be some kind of a...
Oh, you're going to get a kick out of the next one, though.
Okay.
So my next brother, the middle brother, but he's right above me. My older brother's name is Torian.
Torian?
Yes.
That is obviously the name of someone's D&D character. Torian, what is he? He's an archer. He's a ranger. Torian the ranger. He works the northern mountains. Friend to the elves, Torian.
So do you have a guess for the rhyme?
I mean, obviously he's not a very exciting man, so he is Torian the Borean.
That's not it.
Saurian?
Old movie about going back in time.
Well, okay, somewhere in time, Back to the Future, Hot Tub Time Machine, your classic time travel movies, Sweet 16 Candles.
It's Torian DeLorean.
Oh, the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Dorian is a 7 on the weird scale.
Okay.
And then Haakon, I assume that you were always misstarting your baseball pitches, so you were balking Haakon.
No, it's Haakon Badawkin, but that is, I mean, the
Haakon Badawkin?
Yeah.
You're too white to have that as your name. So, Haakon, tell us a little bit about, like, I know a little bit of this story. What was your family like growing up?
Well, I was the youngest of 6 kids, so I learned a lot by watching my older siblings, and my older brother Torian, he's like 2.5 years older than me, so I hung out with him a lot, and my mom would be driving us to all sorts of stuff. My dad is a chiropractor, so...
Did he adjust you guys at home?
Yes. Yeah.
From what age?
I don't know. I assume he adjusted us from infanthood.
Did you ask him or did he ask you?
See, that's interesting. Normally, we ask him. And, you know, I'll come home, my back will be sore, my head will hurt or something like that, and I'll walk up to Dad. He'll be sitting on the couch or a chair or something. Like, hey, can I get an adjustment tonight? He's like, yeah, sure. And we go back to my parents' room where they have the adjustment table set up year round, all the time. And I get up there, he'll adjust me.
That sounds amazing.
It's very nice.
Even though I do not regularly see a chiropractor, I love the idea of the chiropractor, and when I've been, I really like it. I am very judgmental of the kind of chiropractor I want to see.
You're going to be disappointed, Gary.
Does your dad use the little, I hate that thing, the little, that thing is not doing anything.
He does manual adjustments, but he primarily does the activator because he has a really old clientele. And
clearly the activator is just a tire pressure gauge that they're using. That seems pretty obvious to me.
No, I haven't researched it myself.
He's like, oh, yeah. Just now you're at 42 PSI. You're ready to go. Does he use the activator on you?
Yes.
Okay. And it's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. You're saying that maybe someone who works in the field knows better than me?
Possibly.
Interesting.
It's possible.
Do you have a favorite adjustment?
It's actually one of my best experiences getting adjusted was one time, I don't know what happened. I must have slept on it weird, or maybe it was something weird physiologically going on. But my neck was so stiff I couldn't turn it, and so I could like turn it to the right, but I couldn't turn it to the left at all.
It probably got messed up by the activator.
maybe. But my dad, he adjusted it, and it was the loudest
I love
crack I've ever heard, and I could move it perfectly. It was fantastic.
I love the sound of bones cracking. I understand there's people like me out there in the world because we all watch the same chiropractor videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
I love the guy who does the ring dinger, which is like they pull your head up. And I've told you this story. I had an experience like that in college from not a chiropractor when I was in acting for the non-major course. And I was like half asleep on the floor, and this lady just came and pulled my head, and it cracked from my head all the way down my lower back. Wow. I've been chasing that feeling ever since. So I should probably go see your dad.
Yeah.
Does he do that?
He has done that on me a couple times. I do like that one.
That's got to be nice. Does it hurt?
No.
Just the whole. Is that why you're so tall?
Maybe. I think it's because I took lots of naps.
Gosh, I love a nap.
Me too.
My son James probably has the loudest bones.
Oh.
When I don't know how chiropractors feel about this, but there's a lot of self-crackers in the world who probably don't crack the same things the chiropractor cracks. But my son has the loudest neck and back you've ever heard. He's a big kid to start with, but it's just like it's terrifying. So now, was your family Christ followers when you were a kid?
Yeah. So I was raised in the Evangelical Free Church.
Okay. That's a pretty straightforward Protestant denomination. It doesn't mean it's free of evangelicals. It's Bible believing. If you're familiar around here, it was what Trinity Evangelical Divinity School was. A evangelical free school, not too far off of like a Baptist understanding, although they wouldn't be Baptist. So anyway, you were raised in the Evangelical Free Church.
Yeah, and went to a church that was literally like a block from my house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Orchard.
In Arlington Heights. Oh, yeah. I've been there. So you grew up in the church. Was it something, I know a lot of people, so, I didn't grow up in the church. And when I talk to people who did, and you walk with Jesus now.
Yeah.
Did you go through a crisis of faith?
That's a great point about people who are raised in the church. Because, it's usually, you're sort of, it's a negative sounding word, but indoctrinated into the faith, and which really just means, to be taught the doctrine. But it's sort of like something that you believe because your parents tell you to, and most people have to have, I think if your testimony as someone who's raised in the church doesn't include a moment where you change from it being your parents' faith to being your faith, then I doubt your faith.
Right.
Because I just worry that you are just sort of going with the flow, doing whatever people told you to do. And that's not what a relationship with Jesus is like. Yeah. It's life-changing. And if it doesn't change your life, then it's not a relationship with Jesus.
So what was yours?
Well, I was in high school, and, I feel like I always believed the Bible was true. I was like, yeah, that tracks, makes sense. But I never had a personal relationship with Jesus, and I had struggled with sin in my life, and it was something that really made me feel shameful, and something that I didn't want to be part of who I was, but I couldn't escape it. And I feel like something sort of clicked, and I was like, oh, that's what Jesus is here for. He's here to free me from this sin that I'm stuck in. And
you kind of go from a place of like, if I'm a sinner, I've messed up and I'm not making my family proud, and what's wrong with me, to going, oh, this is exactly why Jesus exists, because we're all sinners.
Yeah.
Whether we grew up in the faith or not.
Suddenly, I realized I needed him. And, I asked for him to help me in my sin and to have a relationship with him.
How old were you?
Probably I said high school, but probably when this happened, I was more like 13, 14.
Okay. Kind of coming into your own, realizing that you make your own decisions. And
yeah.
Did your parents understand what's going on with you at that point? How did you talk to them about it?
I told my mom about it. Since my dad was at work, I feel like I was often more comfortable telling my mom things. So I told her about it, and she was very understanding and supportive of me, as, not condemning me and saying how terrible son are you, but I've been there. That's so hard to struggle with. And I don't remember the exact words she said, but I did talk to her about that. I don't know if I really talked to her about that being a specific moment with my relationship with Christ, because at the time, I don't know if I even really understood the difference super clearly of like, I didn't have a relationship with Jesus before, and now looking back on it, it's a lot clearer. But
what was your schooling situation?
I was homeschooled all the way through high school. And actually, a lot of my schooling was actually at my house in a co-op that my mom ran.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I loved it.
I know homeschooling much more common now. A lot of people are familiar with it. Maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was sort of just coming into more mainstream. How would you describe your homeschool experience and how that affected your faith?
Like Christianity, homeschooling always made me feel different from other people. And I felt like, kind of against the flow, outside of the sphere of influence of the world more. And because I was homeschooled, I was taught Christian values while I was in school, though I didn't have any specific Bible class or anything. But I suppose that's the best answer I could give, that it was a similar feeling to Christianity being separate.
Was there anything from your homeschool experience that when you got to be an adult that you went, wait, what? Why did we do that? Or I don't really believe that.
Probably the amount of time that I spent with people outside my family. Like I had friends and I'd hang out with them like once or twice a week sometimes. But when I've talked to my girlfriend Katie about like her experience at Westlake in private school, I've realized how much they had like every day with their friends. They saw their teachers and their friends every day. They grew close through that. They talked about things, and a lot of their development occurred at school away from home then, versus for me, I didn't go away to school every day. I woke up and I did school at home, or I did whatever I wanted if I had free time. And I didn't have that same like daily interaction with people. So I got used to not having that.
So your family life was a much sort of bigger percentage of how you spent your time.
Yeah.
It's much more shaped by how your family lived and the structures of your family. It almost feels like a throwback to a different time, right? Where like you have families that maybe you're working in a family business. And I do want to get into that because your father's a chiropractor, and that's what you're studying to do as well, right? And how do you, I mean, if I don't want, like, I'm not trying to cause controversy here, but some of the critiques of chiropractic that are out there, was that something that your family talked about, something you considered? And like I said, I'm very pro chiropractic, but you do hear things from people probably more so 40 years ago than now. Like when I was a kid, if you went to a chiropractor in the 80s, that guy was, and to be honest, there were some people who were in that business, and you're like, what are you doing? Like they were like into stuff that seemed really off the shelf. Right. Yeah. So is there anything from that you were, that you've kind of heard that has influenced you as you've thought about your own career path?
Well, yeah, I think growing up, I definitely was aware that chiropractic was not really supported by everyone, that it was a little more off the mainstream. And that kind of fit in with everything else in my life as well, whether it's homeschooling or Christianity, that it's different than the mainstream, different from other people. As I grew up more, I definitely felt the urge to see support and evidence. And a lot of that came anecdotally with hearing stories from my dad or from people at his office. I've worked at his office a little bit, and some of his patients, unsolicited, will just tell me, he changed my life. I was, I was so sick and I was not feeling well, and I came to him and he helped me heal.
What do you think, or maybe what does your family think of all the YouTube chiropractors and people who are putting that out there so much?
I would say that they view it mostly like other people do, in the sense of, this is an entertaining video. I know that within the chiropractic community at large, and I'd have to think more to get specific for my dad if I've ever heard him say anything, but there can be a little bit of a stigma on people who use it as sort of a gimmick and like just adjust everything. Or
I tend to find the guys who are adjusting like big fat guys. I want to see what's really going on, because like that guy's working. Who can adjust a 95-pound girl? Anybody.
Right.
I want a 400-pound man on the table.
Yeah.
I want him to call in help from the outside. I want that chiropractor to have to stretch ahead of time, and be like, what's that big fella? What's he doing? What's going on with him? I want them deep cuts in there.
Yeah, there's a guy in my cohort at school who's a semi-pro sumo wrestler.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So
can we get him on the podcast? I don't like any chiropractors that I know right now. The guy I went to, he didn't listen.
Yeah, that's a big thing for patients. Like the bedside manner, the way you treat a patient is as important as how knowledgeable they think you are. So
yes.
if they think you're really knowledgeable, but you don't care. My mom had an ophthalmologist appointment with a guy like twice recently, and she's like, I'm not going back there again because I don't feel like he cares.
Because you need your doctor to lean in, to actually figure out what's going on. It's the same. I mean, look, I'm in that business too, or not chiropractic, but when people come in, they want to be heard.
Yeah.
If you just sort of give them boilerplate, you're like, well, do this, this, and this. Like they don't feel understood.
Yeah.
And you really can't give good advice or counsel unless you really understand the situation. I assume the same thing is true. Like, hey, what's really wrong?
Right.
What's happening? It's not a one size fit all. I hope not.
Yeah.
It's not a one size fit all adjustment. Like you just do these 6 moves, like I assume it's tailored to the actual situation and the person and their lifestyle and what they're doing and all that kind of stuff. So one of the things you and I talked about, you said, hey, I'd like to talk to you about kind of natural medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And I have noticed that I feel like a greater percentage of chiropractors that I know are Christians. And a guy that I used to know, that I used to wash their windows when I was a window washer. Oh. And he talked to me about his faith quite a bit. And he goes, chiropractic is really close spiritually because Jesus healed with his hands.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of interesting. This guy sees what he's doing as a ministry, as kind of part of this. And I was like, I don't know if I buy that whole thing, but I'm like, that's really interesting. Where do you kind of fit in with natural medicine and how Christians might view that? Because I think sometimes people say natural medicine and what's meant by that might be like all over the map.
Right.
And kind of some things that I think Christians might normally like repudiate.
Right.
Like, hey, are we talking about chi? Or where does acupuncture fit in? I know there's chiropractors who do acupuncture and chiropractors who don't. And what that means, is it deep needling? Is it, what are these things? What's Western? What's Eastern? What's the spiritual side of it? Where do you said that's something you're interested in.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit of your journey on that.
Well, yeah, it's actually, it's fascinating that you mentioned, comparing it with how Jesus healed by hand. Chiropractic means done by hand. And I have often thought about, obviously some of the things Jesus did were blatant miracles. Nothing seems like it could have done anything. But every once in a while, I wonder, did God just know all the secrets of how the world worked and Jesus knew how to work with that? Like, I'm not saying that that's how miracles are done because that's borderline heresy. But I do wonder sometimes, like, Jesus knew everything about the world. He knew how he set it up. And sometimes there are like
when he feeds the 5,000, yes, he multiplies the bread, but he doesn't just put it in their stomachs.
Right.
Right. He makes bread that they have to eat.
Right.
Right. He's sort of working inside the normal parameters in that way. He doesn't just make people not hungry or make them all healthy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to think about his processes in some of his miracles as well.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I feel like I would agree with the guy you mentioned in your story, his sentiment of it's very connected to my spiritual beliefs in my spiritual life, that I think one of the basic principles of chiropractic in the profession, because it's not strictly a Christian profession, they call it innate intelligence. And it's a little bit confusing and like I don't know if you'd call it rhetoric or something, but where it's like you're not sure exactly what they mean. But essentially what I gather from some of my classes and talking to people is the idea of there's a healing force that was within your body already that can heal it, and we're just removing obstacles from that. So we don't heal the body. I'm not like stitching back your spine back together or something.
And how your body works is amazing.
Yeah.
Cuts on our bodies heal.
Yeah.
Our lungs regenerate. Like it makes new cells all the time.
Yeah.
It's insane what our bodies are able to do to repair themselves.
Right.
Yeah. When you said healing force, I was like, oh, what kind of weird thing is this? But really, that's true.
Yeah.
That our bodies are self-repairing. Like what a miracle of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that my personal belief is God works to maintain all of the laws of physics and, all the forces of nature, from gravity to electromagnetic attraction to strong force and weak force. And I think, well, why do those laws stay in place? Because of God's power. And that's where he is in all. I forget what verse it is that it says that God is in all and through all and for all. Like
in him all things were made. It's
yeah.
I'm gonna get this wrong, but it's like Colossians 3.
That sounds 1. Yeah,
that's one in there. So they're Colossians 1 or Colossians 3.
But yeah, that I think that he is the force that holds the universe together. And so he designed it and he holds it, and God is a much better designer than we are. So when we are trying to make like, and I think there's definitely a place for drugs and surgery. They're life-saving in many cases. But when they're not absolutely necessary, I think the things that God has already put in place work much better and much more holistically, so that, there's something I would refer to as the pharmaceutical or drug treadmill, where you take one and it gives you a side effect. They give you another one to fix that side effect. It gives you a second side effect.
Right.
And, that's because we don't know how things work as well as God does. So we make a drug to, stop your body from getting more cholesterol or something, or higher blood pressure, and then it causes a problem somewhere else because we don't know how it works exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a complicated system.
Yeah.
That's interdependent that we don't really understand. And obviously there are places where, drugs have saved lives of people.
Yeah.
But you're also you can see that a lot of things that could be addressed by diet, exercise, right? Like different. I mean, right now, all I can see everywhere is invitations to old men like me to do Tai Chi for 28 days. Have you seen that? I don't know. They're probably not on your feed. On my feed right now is constant men over 50 should do Tai Chi walking for 28 days. It's been an onslaught.
Wow.
Do you know how sometimes your algorithm is just like, you will know about this? Like, for whatever reason, my algorithm has decided this man must grapple with the idea of Tai Chi. Enough where it's 10 times a day. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, who's running this? That's like, Gary needs that Tai Chi. And I'm like, well, maybe, and it starts to wear you down. You're like, is this a sign? Should I certainly do Tai Chi? And I'm like, so far, no.
Okay.
I mean, it did make me think I should start swimming again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't swim much in the summers because I try to get out, do exercise outside.
Right.
But in the winters, I swim pretty regularly, and that's my main form of exercise when it's cold.
Could you swim outside?
I do swim outside.
Okay.
I'll swim lakes and stuff. It's just a little harder than going to the gym.
Right. That makes sense.
But I do love swimming outside. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well,
I was in Hawaii 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
And I got to swim. I love the ocean, and I wish I lived in a world where I could swim in the ocean every day. I think I would honestly, we were on the Big Island. I did a wedding out there, and best situation ever. Like, normally I'm doing weddings behind the 7-Eleven in Waukegan. And so a guy that I've known forever flew us out there he's marrying a girl from the Big Island, which is like where the regular people live. And we spent a lot of time with like regular Hawaiians who just ate a lot of fish and swam in the ocean every day. I was like, leave me
fish.
Fresh. The day of the wedding, this guy went out and speared 100 fish. And grilled them up. And we had poke and grilled fish.
He speared them.
Tons of, and then tons of veggies and fresh fruit. I drank a lot of Pog, which probably is not my pineapple orange guava juice.
Oh.
My gosh, that stuff's amazing. And I might make it sandwich of the day because it's so good. Yeah. You know what? In fact, sandwich of the day today is Pog juice. Pog juice is great. I'm like, I'm not supposed to drink a lot of juice. And I was like, man, this is healing something in my body.
Pineapple is anti-inflammatory.
So, Haakon, how do you determine, as you're studying and figuring out like what kind of chiropractor you're going to be, what's been like because I think this is something interesting to people. I think when we're hurting, we're much more willing to sort of introduce something that we might have been wary of. A few years back, I had terrible low back pain. I went to see a couple different people, and I couldn't deal with it. And I got to the point where I was like, I would take crack. Like I was like, I could only kneel to write. I couldn't sleep. I was going crazy. And I was like, man, I understand now people get addicted to drugs.
Yeah. Because
I was like, I can't function. I finally went, and someone suggested to me, I went and got deep needling done. Ooh. Which they say is Eastern medicine, not it's Western, not Eastern. And that I have not had an issue since then.
Is that the same as dry needling?
Dry needling, deep needling, same thing. Really, really painful.
Yeah, I've heard.
But after 2 sessions, my back pain was, after I'd struggled for months, back pain was gone, never came back.
Yeah.
And, but I'm like, I realized how easy it was for me to compromise because of the pain.
Yeah.
When you think about what kind of doctor you want to be, what kind of chiropractor you want to be, how do you draw those lines of like, this is appropriate kinds of things, And this is something that kind of crosses a line spiritually for me as a Christian. And can you give us an example of that?
Well, I'd say that a lot of it is about, where I am trusting in for my healing when I'm working. I feel like that when I wholeheartedly believe it's something that's from God, I'm happy to do it. There are my dad works with a guy in his office who's a traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncturist. He's a fantastic Christian man, and he does stuff with chi, and I'd love to talk to him further about that. But I think the world is a spiritual world as much as it's a physical world. And so there's real spiritual forces that are trying to lead us astray, that are trying to attack us and get us to worship other things, rely on other things than God. And I don't know yet whether or not you could label something as like Jesus, like, oh, Jesus is, healing me through this prayer, in this place, and then get it wrong and realize that it wasn't Jesus. I want to say that if you're doing something to honor God and trusting God with like a relatively reasonable amount of being informed, that you wouldn't go astray to find healing or power in something evil or dark. So I would say that there are things that I don't know as much about that I'd be less comfortable with. Things like chakras or meridians. I know people who would claim to be Christians and are learning about those things, and I don't know how you practice that per se, but I'm not very comfortable with it because I don't know a lot about it. There are things that I feel a little bit more comfortable with because I've been raised around that, like chi to some extent, that my dad has taught us certain things about chi flow as then like an energy flow in your body. And I don't know how it works exactly, but since I've been raised with it, I'm really comfortable with it. And if I were to actually implement that in a practice of like teaching people about that or using it to try and heal people, I'd want to do a lot more.
That's really interesting. Like when I hear you say chi, my first reaction is that's not something, from God. That's something I'd be careful around. It seems like your definition of that, or even this man's definition, is more of like a description of something that's happening in your body. Yeah. That maybe is not well understood, but isn't something. Maybe there's a crossover there of saying we are spiritual people and physical people, but their definition would be like, that's not from an evil place. Right. If people, I've had this conversation with people about, honestly, more about drugs than anything else, about like, antipsychotic drugs and those kind of things. And those are really hard lines to kind of walk down, and you talked about kind of being on this sort of drug carousel and whatever. And I think we've had the experience, and you can get into people's business real fast here, where like someone's like, oh, my kid is acting like this, they're going to need this drug and then sometimes they might say, oh, we had to have it. Other times you're like, did you? Yeah. Right. And then it's not my place to judge other people's stuff with their kids. But there's also some real fear there of what do we really know? I have found, I've told people about this, like in churches, I'm like, your pastor doesn't know as much as you think he knows. Your pastor's just another guy. Yeah. Like I know a lot of pastors, and some of them pretend to know stuff they don't. I think that's also true in medical fields and in chiropractic, whatever that, like, of people who want to know an answer or like feel like they're in an expert position. But like I think for each Christ follower, you have to do your due diligence to go, okay, where is this coming from? Is this something that is from the Lord? Can I test it? Can I, it says test the spirits. Yeah. Is there anything is dark in this? Am I participating in something that I shouldn't? Like, we should be really vigilant about the kinds of things we put in our body, the way our bodies are treated, the things that we believe. And I think too often we'll try to jump to something because of pain. And I have compassion for that. Like I said, I learned that lesson. I was like, boy, it was so amazing to me how fast I was willing to at least consider compromise. because of the pain that I was in.
Right.
So I don't know how you're sorting that out. It's interesting. I've never heard anyone talk positively about chi before.
Yeah.
But it seems like your definition of it might be, what would be your definition of it?
My definition of chi would be that it's an energy force that moves through your body and that can be directed with training. Now, I don't know whether that energy force is more physical,
akin to like your blood flow, or like the flow of the way our hormones work in our body, the way our electrical systems work in our body, the way that synapses fire off, the way that things are connected together. I mean, it's such an incredibly complex system. If I think for me, if someone said chi is sort of a way to talk about those systems, those physical systems and how they interact, and we're talking about how to influence those systems, I'd be much more comfortable with that as a Christ follower than saying, like, especially if you're talking about it like an outside energy force. Yeah. Right. But if you're like, oh, this is something that kind of describes a bunch of systems in our body and how they work in some ways that we may or may not completely understand, that feels a little different to me.
Right.
So I don't know if I'm doing a good job of making if I'm trying to Christianize your definition.
Well, I would say that it may describe something akin to like all the physical systems of your body and in a way that interacts and we don't know. My understanding is probably unconsciously or subconsciously always been a little more spiritual, of like some sort of like spiritual force or energy that you have within you because you're a spiritual being. Now, I don't know how the theology works or the doctrine works for that, and I mean, how do you talk about soul? Yeah, right,
and where that fits in, and how we think about our own will. I know that's probably a misquote here, but I've heard it said, that if you weigh someone right before they die and then right after they die, the weight has changed. And that's people have referred to that as the weight of the soul, right? Yeah. That's left the body. I don't know if that's true or not. Now I feel like we're on Joe Rogan's podcast. But I think about the Psalms, right, where he says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Like, my inner parts. And I'm like, I don't. I'm in awe of what God has done in the physical world, in our bodies, how they grow. I mean, I think about that all the time. I'm like, you could put all of humanity to work for 1,000 years and they couldn't build a person. Yeah. Right? We can't. No. Right? Like, obviously this world is designed by God. The way he's put it together, and that each one of us is this incredible miracle. Yeah. And I think what you said before really struck me. You're like, if I'm coming at this saying, I'm someone who belongs to the Lord, I want to be helpful in this way, in a way that honors God, that's at least a very good start to saying, I'm not going to do evil here. Yeah. Like, my intention is to do good, not to draw someone away from the Lord, but like to work inside of the things that God has made.
Yeah. My dad said he's told me before, he prays for what he needs to do for each patient.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
That's really cool. Haakon, thanks so much for coming on the show today. We'll maybe have to have you back for a longer conversation here. But I'm so thankful for you coming on. If you want to support the show, you can go to newhoperoundlake.com/WFL. If you've got questions or comments about today's episode, you can direct them to Haakon, because I don't know what I'm talking about. No, you can always post them up, and we'll try to address those in future episodes. Looking forward, we have some special guests coming up, including our contest winner is coming up soon. Who won our, I think was it our June contest maybe, is that we're recording with him next week. I'll leave his identity a secret for now.
Oh, that's exciting.
But Haakon, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Faith, thanks for soldiering through on a sick day. And let us remember, right, we have been made by God. He has put us together in a wonderful way. And when we seek him, he brings to us wholeness and health and healing, sometimes through other people, right? Sometimes just working in our own soul. But I encourage you, the first stop when we're in pain, we're in brokenness, is to go to the Lord with it and ask him to direct our path. God bless you, and thanks for listening today.